Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Review from the South Stand. This is the match reaction to Fulham versus Tottenham, where we've just beaten Fulham 1-0 at Craven Cottage. Welcome to the show. If you haven't joined us before, make sure you click on the subscribe button, like button, whatever you want to do. We've got a great couple of guests coming on onto the show now, which I'll be introducing. Quite a turgid affair earlier on in the first half, but got the result in the end. So we're going to get into it right now. Just introduce onto the show Mr. Kuva and also Mr. Tommy Mitchell from Hotspur Hood, who's putting his shirt on display. We'll just wait for Tommy to come into the room as well. There he is. Tommy, how's it going? You all right?
All good, mate. All good.
Good stuff. And Kuva, yourself?
Yeah, struggling on. I've had some knee pain recently and it's keeping me off streams, and I kind of wish it had kept me away from watching the football tonight as well.
Yeah, look, let's get straight into it, shall we? It was a game where everyone was sort of dreading it. You know, it's going to be the same old. And to be honest, up until that Kane goal right before half-time, it was a really turgid affair. And, you know, it wasn't pleasing on the eye. I mean, what did you make of it, Kuva?
Well, it's just boring, wasn't it? I mean, let's face it, it looked like two mid-table teams colliding with nothing really to play for. And Harry Kane, just that one moment, really, wasn't it? Didn't see a lot to get encouraged about, especially first half. The way we started off, the passing was just unbelievably bad. It was some of the worst I've seen this season. And let's face it, we've seen some bad passing from our team this season, but that was like next level abysmal. Fulham were all over us in many ways in the first half. Smarter in the tackle, always sharper to win the ball, a little hungrier for it, a little bit more control in possession. But I'll give us one credit where it's due, and that's we actually defended fairly well on the large. You could pick out a few little individual slips here and there, but generally speaking, we limited them to very few shots on goal. Could say the same for them though. We didn't really create a lot, so I think if it had ended up as a 1-1 or a 0-0, couldn't have really argued with it.
Yeah, Tommy. I mean, you just heard what Kuva had to say. Well, what do you think? What do you make of the match tonight?
It was, I agree with what you and Kuva said. It was boring. It was tough to watch. We know to expect that from Conte. And Fulham are good. Look, they're 7th in the league. They've been fantastic. First 35 minutes were really, really rough. And then we saw a little bit of different 5 minutes, 35th to the 40th minute. We got into the game a little bit. And then last 5 minutes, to be fair, we were on them. And I was like, we need to nick a goal here. You know, that'll make Marco Silva's team to halftime team talk very, very difficult. Always does with the late goals. And we got it, but unbelievable. I'm sure we get onto it, but outrageous. How can, the keeper had no chance. He didn't put any power into it, Kane. There was no power in the shot, but the keeper still had no chance. Absolutely magnificent. And the idiots that say we need a rebuild and the rebuild has to involve Kane going. Absolutely no chance. We need that man here. We need that man here more than we need Conte here. So, end of the first half. We looked pretty comfortable. Yeah. Pretty comfortable in the second half.
I mean, we'll get into, there's been talks of Kane potentially negotiating a new contract, but we'll get into that later on in the show. Just want to welcome Harry. Harry's a new face onto A View from the South Stand. If you don't know, he was on the last show as well. Welcome to the show, Harry.
Hey, you're right. Nice to see you. Hello, everyone. You're right.
How you doing, man?
Hey up, mate.
Nice to see you.
Fantastic. Harry, nice to have you on the show, mate. Look, what do you make of the match today? You've heard what Kuva and Tommy had to say. Do you agree with all that? I mean, first half was really boring. It was a really tough watch, but, half-time, bit of magic from Kane, and then we showed a lot of resilience in the second half. What do you make of the match?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I don't think we're fantastic that first half. I think we're lucky to go into half time ahead, got a bit of Kane brilliance, but we showed resilience in that second half and actually defended better and limited Fulham. Didn't have that many chances, did they? Fulham in the end because we limited them and resilience was good in the end. So a lot better, I think, in that second half defensively because that defense has been questioned at times this season and rightly so. I thought we defended better, but weren't great in that first half. So in the end, probably deserved that result, but we're very resilient in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we can all pretty much agree on that.
Yeah.
Just with regards to the lineup in the beginning, a lot of people had a look at the team sheet and they saw that Son started again, Lloris started again, and Royale started that right back. I'll come to you with this one, Tommy. What do you make of the initial team sheet with the players coming on? Was you expecting Son to start again and Hugo and Royale to come back in?
I felt like, a few games ago, Conte would start taking risks now, especially after he put Sarr in. Putting Sarr into the North London derby when he had, Basuma fit, Skip fit. I thought he might take a few risks after the Man City loss, but look, Conte was brave. He stuck to his guns, and look, we got the win. We got a clean sheet. But I think Doherty, when he got the chance at right wing back, he didn't exactly take it. He wasn't exactly great. So Emerson comes back in, and fair play to Emerson. Look, his attacking. This is one of the better attacking performances I've seen from Emerson. In the first half, he was shocking defensively, though. It was like a swing. Like the thing he's sort of good at defensively, he was horrible. He made Willian look like Ronaldinho in the first 35, 40 minutes. But yeah, the rest of the team sheet, there were no real risks there. And Son, I felt like it was time to rest Son and put Richarlison in. And I think that time is probably coming soon. It has to be coming soon. But no real changes. But look, it worked. We got 3 points, clean sheet.
Just on that, what do you make of Son's performance? Because I thought he was quite, anonymous in the game. He didn't really. I mean,
did he get the assist? Did he get the assist for Kane?
I believe it come off him for Kane. Yeah. And then Kane took over the ball. Yeah.
So that'll go down as an assist. He'll take that.
It will go down as an assist, 100%. Yeah. I mean, if he does nothing and gets an assist during the game, then who are we to complain? But I mean, generally, apart from that, there wasn't much going on with Son, and he still looks like someone who's bereft of confidence and not really taking over like he did last season. Let's put it that way. I mean, Kuva, what do you make of Son's performance tonight?
Yeah, he struggled to find any spaces, really, didn't he? It was a case of him picking up the ball back to goal, turning around and trying to go through 5 people at times. He seemed to be so off his game. He doesn't even seem to be in the right position anymore like he used to be. It's almost like his roles changed this season. But it's not the same player. Doesn't play with a smile anymore. Clearly not enjoying his football. Goals are not going in. That's the main thing with Sonny. If he's not scoring, he's pretty ordinary as a player after that. He's not like a hard-working midfielder. He's not somebody who's like going to ping the passes out like a De Bruyne or anything like that. He's not an out-and-out winger either. So take the goals away, and he always looks a lot worse than perhaps he's given credit for. But end of the day, that's what you expect from Son, isn't it? It's the finishing touches on a team move, and it's just not there. Doesn't look like it's coming back either. That's the worrying bit. I think the only thing was him being substituted was perhaps should have been done a lot earlier. We just got to accept that he's on terrible form now.
I mean, this is the reason why we brought players in on the substitute bench, so to speak. The likes of Richarlison and everyone else. Players to come in when others aren't doing so well, where you have injuries and stuff. Harry, what do you make of his performances? Why do you think he's not performing? And do you think that we should be now looking to bring someone else in, i.e. Richarlison or someone else in his position to give him a couple of games, a couple of games off to sort of get his mind together again?
Yeah, it's definitely an idea. I was surprised it was starting, to be honest. I thought, this could be Richarlison's opportunity to start. I actually think Richarlison should have started. Sad to see, isn't it? Son not having that smile on the face, not being his usual self. I thought at times in the game he was a bit better and tried to take on a few players, but he's still clearly lacking that confidence. Gets tackled easily at the moment as well. So yeah, that's probably could be an idea. Give him a rest if you like, break for a couple of games. But what more can Richarlison do to start? I was surprised that he didn't start, to be honest with you. So it'd be good also for Richarlison to give Richarlison a chance as well as give Son a break as well. Yeah.
So obviously Kane, we've got to talk about the goal because it was just something out of nothing. I mean, he created that all himself, albeit the ball did drop to him from, I believe it was Son. Son attempted a dribble, ball comes over to Kane. And then he almost uses the defender, Fulham defender, as a guide to sort of guide it around him because he knew if it went past the defender, the keeper's not going to get to it. And my God, absolutely fantastic. And this is the thing, right? Time after time, Kane has come in and saved us on so many occasions. And like Tommy said, I'll go back to what Tommy said at the beginning. There's people that want to sell Kane and start a rebuild without Kane. For me, I think he's... at his imperious best, there isn't no one better than him at the club, bar none. To find someone like Kane to replace him, I mean, we can talk about Richarlison coming in for 60 million as his replacement. I think Richarlison isn't even fit enough to lace his
But we know that's his replacement, right? We know under Levy, Richarlison is signed as his replacement.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Welcome Haz to the show quickly. Haz, welcome to the show, mate. We were just talking about Harry Kane's goal, how good it was. It's a fantastic goal. But just before that, I mean, we spoke about, how the game started and everything else. Where did you watch the game? Did you go to the game or?
No. It's just because I was watching it somewhere else and I came. That's why I was a few minutes late.
I see. Right. Okay. What do you make of the game, mate? I mean, it was a really terrible first half, but what do you make of it?
Just same old, really. It's just Kane scored and we managed to hold on to the game, hold on to the lead, I guess. That's about it.
Was it what you was expecting? I mean, going into the game, I know we spoke, we messaged each other before and you were saying, there's no hope, we'll probably lose the game 3-0. That's expected, the current climate and everything else, but it certainly probably didn't go according to how you expected it to go.
Well, it was a bit better than I expected it to go. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give Spurs that. Okay, I thought, in a sense, that we were a bit more compact, I guess, compared to other games. For some crazy reason, Emerson played a blinder.
Yeah.
Let's not get carried away.
Not defensively, though. Defensively, he was bad, man. If you see him, especially in the first half, he was rough.
But I think
Emerson's great.
With Kane, it's like without him, I dread to think where we'll be.
Yeah, and that brings us on to obviously Wayne Holland. Welcome to the show, by the way. Wayne Holland asks, where would Spurs be without Kane? And I think we sort of touched on that with Tommy and Kuva earlier on before you come on, I mean, the guy is just, he's irreplaceable at Spurs. And, Harry, we're going to talk about your namesake, Harry. Where would we be without
the same
Harry?
name, yeah.
Where would we be without Harry? I mean, the guy's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great question. He saves us so many moments. He's done it again today. It's a bit of quality, the difference in the game. He's saved us so many times now. So that really is the question: where would we be without him? And I dread to think where we would be. To be honest, saved us a lot. Put it that way.
Yeah, Kuva, what are you thinking?
Well, Wayne Holland is a mate of mine now, a Leicester fan, and I think just for a bit of a wind up, I'd say without Kane, we'd probably be down with Leicester, challenging for 15th place. We'd be that bad, really, wouldn't we? He's getting bailing us out of trouble all the time this season. You could argue it was Sonny last season, really, doing the main spade work and getting the goals to get us through games, but we're playing worse than we were last season, in my opinion. We're heavily reliant on Kane now, almost entirely. Even Kulusevski, despite his great touches, he's not having quite the same impact with goals and assists at the moment. So until he's got back into his stride after that injury, we're still all about Harry Kane. If he doesn't do it, nobody else seems to be. Just need some players to catch up, get the fitness back. It will help a bit, but we're not a great side. That's the overall thing. Reminded me when Tommy said about the conversations about if we're going to do a rebuild, we'll have to get rid of Kane. I'm one of the people who said that. It's one of the options. If you're going to go for a youthful rebuild, you're going to have to sell some of your top players at the moment and really commit to it. It's a painful thing to do, but at the moment, what are we going to really add to the quality that Kane needs to work with? I don't think so. Not with Levy in charge. We're not going to be buying big name players. We're just going to be picking up scraps like usual. I think we're just going to waste Kane's career if he decides to stay longer.
I think with Kane though, also, if to replace him, you need 2 or 3 players probably just for one player.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I think we're going to go back. We're
the
going to go back
rebuild
to
if you sell him.
4-2-3-1, aren't we? I think at some stage we're going to get outside of the 3 at the back, so you're going to need a cam anyway. So you're going to get a couple of cams and a striker probably. Madison, everyone's talking about Madison, Zaniolo that can play there. So I think, if you sell Kane, logistically you're going to need 3 players. I do not want to see us playing 3 at the back again. I'm Conte in, but I do not want to see us playing 3 at the back. We've had it for too long. Pragmatism for too long. I do want to see us on the front foot. So I think you're right, 2 or 3 players. He's going anyway. I guarantee you, Harry Kane this summer, he's off skis. And good luck to him. As Kuva said, he deserves trophies. He's been that good. So if he does, good luck to him. And I'll tell you for one, I won't be booing him. Unless he goes Chelsea Arsenal. Unless he goes Chelsea Arsenal.
Yeah, I won't even boo him if he goes to Chelsea.
I won't either.
If he does, I hope
But Kuva, if we lose Kane, if we take the rebuild and we lose Kane, we're going to finish 8th, 9th. We're going to lose Romero.
No, 15th, 16th.
We're going to lose Romero.
I think whatever way you look at it, it will be a tough pill to swallow because Kane's been at the club for over 10 years now and he hasn't won anything. And the reason I say it'll be a tough pill to swallow because he'll go to another club and no doubt he'll win silverware and it won't be with us. And for me, everyone knows my opinion. I've been on, other shows and I've voiced my opinions, but the board have massively let Kane down because we haven't accommodated this generational talent that we've had at the club. Had we accommodated him, had the players around him, which at one point we did with Poch, we did have the players, but we needed to push on and we didn't. We could say this till we're blue in the face. We've said it before, but, arguably one of the greatest players in the Premier League, or in Premier League history, he's still on course to break Alan Shearer's record in the Premier League. He's still on course. He'll break Greaves' record next game or the game after. But, this guy, without him, like Kuva elaborated, we'd probably be languishing sort of mid-table, 10th, 11th. The amount of times he's come up with winners and stuff. But to answer your question, Tommy, I mean, you mentioned there's people that, saying we should sell him and rebuild. Do you reckon much of that is because people think he's going to be off anyway? He's got an 18-month contract and people are sort of saying, well, he's going to be off next season? Or do you reckon it's because people genuinely think we need to get rid of him, generate some money, what we can, and, start a new rebuild?
I think it's probably a combination of the two. But if he had a 2.5-year contract, I think Levy would, he has to stay, doesn't he? Like when he threw his toys at the pram a little bit a year and a half ago. What can you do? If you've got 2 years, you got to play for the club. Different story if it's 12 months, because if you throw your toys at the pram this summer, Levy's going to want some money for you. He's not going to let you go for free. So the irony is that we discussed this on a few channels. We probably discussed it on this channel as well. Levy won't spend over £10 million on 30-year-olds, 29-year-olds, but he's going to ask for 120 million for Kane. He's going to ask for 120 million for Son. You probably ask for 30 million for Lloris, and he's 37, so 36, 37. So it's I think whatever
double standards. Really think about it, but.
Well, to answer your question, I think it's definitely a combination. It's a combination of the two.
Yeah,
I think with the selling Kane for the rebuild, it's in. From my point of view, it's if we're getting a manager like Pochettino, if he comes back again, he needs youthful players full of energy, full of running. An aging Harry Kane is not going to be doing that anymore. We will need.
Well, he's going to need players around him, Kuva. Like you said, at his age, where he's not going to be able to have that burst of pace. He'll still have his, positional sense, getting in the right areas. But for that, we will need to either accommodate that and spend money, or he'll go elsewhere where another team will have the players that he needs around him. So you're absolutely right. I do agree with that.
I think I'd say though is that I think Kane is more. You can accommodate him more than someone like Son in the Poch system because he's more positional rather than just based on speed. Son's 30 now, and you can see he's lost. Apart from his loss of form, he has lost a bit of pace. And for like you saw with Bale, for example, he just became like a finisher because he lost his pace. It's the same sort of thing with Son now, I think. And you're better off cashing on Son than Kane if you had a choice.
That's interesting.
If we're going down that route, might have to be both.
It's just
that's
that
even more
like
interesting.
If Kane's going to stay, then you can accommodate him more in the system. Just play him as like a poacher-esque player, I guess. Yeah.
Harry, I'll come to you for the next question. Obviously, we're putting a decent display after that first 40 minutes. Got the goal. We held out. We're resilient. It wasn't pretty stuff. But do you reckon? Do you reckon we can continue this way, especially if we're not going to get any signings in? Do you think it's sustainable to carry on the season the way we're playing now against well, we've got Manchester City in the league next, but we're going to have much tougher opposition than Fulham. Do you think we still, we 100% need to make signings, or do you reckon, we could go the whole season sort of playing the way we are?
Well, obviously, I think we need signings. I think Levy's forgotten that we're actually in the transfer window. That's what it looks like. But yeah, I think we need players because you look at the Fulham game, right? I mean, in another day, we might have not gone in to half-time 1-0 up. We could have gone in 1-0 behind. So, and I don't think you can get away with it with teams like Man City. So I think we need strengthening. I think our defence needs strengthening. I think it was good today. So it showed some resilience. But generally, that squad needs, you have to take one look at the bench and one look at the defence. And, that needs investing in. Certainly.
Obviously, we spoke about Emerson Royale today, and you said yourself as well. He had a good game today by his standards. By his standards, would you still get rid of Emerson Royale and bring someone else in? Because we've been linked with Pedro Porro. Obviously, our chairman's the sort of guy where he'll say, "Well, he's had a good game against Fulham," or whatever it is, and he'll probably say we don't really need anyone else. But would you get rid of him still, or if there was an exchange deal on the table?
Yeah, I'd definitely get rid of him. Can we get rid of Emerson and Doherty? Do some kind of trade with Porro as well. That'd be good if we get rid of both of them. But why not just play the release course of Porro? It's a position we need strengthening. Emerson was great. Yeah. Fantastic tonight, in fact. I think, especially going for, but can he do that against the likes of Man City? I can't see him doing that consistently. The defence is the whole area of weakness. I mean, attack, you could say we're right, despite defending well today. The defence is the problem. It's what we need investing in. So we need to really get on with signing some players because the only team in the top four who hasn't signed somebody.
Tommy, on that, I'll come to you. Like Harry said, we do need some defensive reinforcements. We need defensive players. There's no two ways about that. But with the club being linked at the moment with the likes of Zaniolo, do you think we're sort of looking in the wrong places? Do we need Zaniolo? Or what is our priority and what do we really need? Because some people say we haven't got creativity. Yep, correct. But the way I look at it, Tommy, is Conte's system relies on a solid defensive foundation.
We don't have
and
that.
Surely we should be looking at bringing, even if Conte's not going to be here, bringing someone in as a sort of reinforcement. What do you think?
I think with Zaniolo specifically, I know why you brought him up because he's the only one who seemed to be linked with the last 7 days, which is crazy because priorities are a centre back and a right wing back. But I mean, specifically Zaniolo and creativity, you don't play with a cam. You don't play with a cam. The only creativity in Conte's previous sides was a deep centre mid, whether it was at Inter, Brozovic, Chelsea had Fabregas, played that deeper role. Pirlo was the best. Inter and Juventus, He was the greatest. So the only creativity you're going to get in a Conte team is a deep centre midfielder. We were crying out for that. You're not going to get that with Zaniolo. The only way I see us signing Zaniolo is if Lucas goes early, because he can play on the right wing. So I think we all know Lucas's contract's not going to be extended. We had the option. So he's going to go in the summer anyway. Apparently Everton are interested. So if he goes early, we've got a spot for right wing. And we know Kulusevski's had injuries. So it would make a little bit of sense. But priorities, this is the last position we need to be looking at. We have to be looking at a middle centre-back to put Dyer on the bench and then to sell him in the summer, and a right wing back. The only guy we're looking at is Porro. Surely there's other names out there. We're messing about with Porro, messing about with the centre-backs. I know Harry, bottom left Harry, said, we want to chuck in Doherty and Emerson in a deal. Wishful thinking. I want to do the same. And apparently we did for Porro. We threw Emerson in there and offered £15 million or something. But it's not going to happen. Nobody's taking Emerson. He's like Aurier. I'd pay to get rid of Emerson. We had to pay to get rid of Aurier. I'd do the same thing. I think Aurier's better. Honestly, I'd rather take Aurier.
Yeah.
That's how badly I rate.
Are Everton really interested in Lucas?
I think Everton would take anything they can right now.
That's true.
What kind of trouble would we be in if it wasn't for Everton taking our cast offs?
Yeah.
They took Dele Alli.
$1 billion players.
They took
It's
Dele
like
and he's
Spurs
back
graveyard
from
at Everton,
Besiktas,
isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
We send all our players off to Everton to retire or just give up football altogether. But to be honest, I think Everton will take whatever they can at the moment. They're looking like they're prime candidates to go down this season. But look, Kuva, I'll come to you. In terms of transfers and stuff, we haven't signed anyone yet. We've been linked with a couple of players, but do you think much of it has to do with the fact that there's instability with, Conte, whether he's going to stay or he's going to go? Is that playing a big part in the reason why we haven't signed anyone? I know. I think I know what you're going to say, but I have to ask a question.
You're right. You can say it if you want. Look who our chairman is. We always do this. The only thing that's happened is we had a surprise last January that we actually got a couple of people in. But I mean, that's because of Paratici's previous contacts, and for some reason he might not manage it this January. So what are we going to do? It's down to Levy to sort of pull out, get some deals over the line that he's already apparently trying to do. But let's face it, is he really trying? No. It's a buyout clause. If you really want to play, just go and get it. Everybody, everybody does that. It's simple. Yeah. We offer below what's needed, keep haggling away, try and pour off some of our old players that nobody wants. It's not going to happen. I'm expecting us to come out with some loan signing at the very best.
Adama Traore? Oh, yes or no?
No. They were asking up to 11 million. We're not going to go.
Oh, it's too much. All
yeah.
Right,
yeah. What a talented player is. Oh, mind you, I've said before on stream, part of me just wants to see it. Emerson Royale with Adama Traore.
That'll be something special to watch.
Oh my God. It's like not having a right-hand side to the team. I think we're just in a complete mess. Uncertainty all the way round, and nobody more in the dark than the fans, as usual. It'd be nice to just have some club spokesman come out and just put a few things straight after a while, wouldn't it? Rather than rely on Conte and he's having to speak in riddles. Otherwise, he gets sacked on the spot for saying something that's truthful. It's just a load of bollocks at this club at the moment. It really is. Rudderless ship starting to sink. Really, transfers, forget it, not happening. It's what other clubs do.
Is it getting to the stage where we're happy when we reach the 40-point mark?
Yeah. I want us to reach 40 points so I can just.
Haz, we'll go to Az. What do you think, Az? When we reach the 40-point mark, are you satisfied now? Is that what we're looking at?
It's okay for me. Yeah. I just want to touch on the transfer thing, though. I think if the club were intelligent, regardless of who the manager is in the summer, you need centre halves. So go and buy 2 centre halves, one experienced one whatever the club policy is, like a 24-year-old, and at least it'll be improvement on what we got.
Yeah.
And you won't ever have to spend that much money, I don't think.
Yeah,
with that regard, I've said this on a few other streams. If you're playing out from the back all the time and your goalkeeper and your defenders are crap, surely that's the first thing you have to fix, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the last thing we seem to be fixing, if we do at all.
But we won't do anything. So,
you know, most of the games that I've seen Spurs play this season, they prefer to play the ball out the back. That has to be a Conte thing, getting the players to play out the back. But for me, I think it just looks uncomfortable for the players having to play out from the back.
but we did
when you come up against better opposition.
Yeah,
essentially they press us out of the ball. So why we can, you know, insist on playing the ball out from the back when we haven't got the players to do it? That's a Conte thing. I don't know what everyone else's opinion is, but sometimes we can't blame the board every time for everything. You know, there's certain things that the board can be blamed for.
Yeah, we can. Let's do it.
But yes, Kuva. Yes.
There's certain things. There's certain things, Kuva, where you know the manager has to take. You know, he has to be accountable for the tactics he puts out. He needs to be accountable for the way the team play, getting the players ready, and everything else. I will say though, you know, the chairman and the board haven't backed Conte with precisely what he's needed. They've given him almost what he's needed, but not exactly what he's needed. And it's like putting petrol in a diesel car. It's not going to run for long. So,
22 years of it, mate. 22 years. Well, 23 now, isn't it? Yeah, we've seen it all the way from Hoddle wanting Morientes and Eto'o, and he gets Bobby Zamora and
Helder Postiga.
I was excited for Postiga, to be fair. When that come up on CFAX, I was...
Do you remember Teletext? Was it Teletext you used to look at, remember, for transfers?
Yeah,
Harry's looking at us right now thinking, what the hell are they talking about?
Back in the black and white days, yeah.
I remember I used to go on the TV and check Teletext every few hours. What's
buffering?
Saturdays.
I wish we'd bring back Teletext CFAX because it's probably the best way to watch us now.
Oh, absolutely.
True.
I just wanted to ask all of you, actually. I mean, look, we've not made any signings. I keep going back to the signings, but do you think it's acceptable to go another window? I know it's January, but do you think it's acceptable not to go through another window, having signed no players, especially the situation that we're in? And what do you think? You know, there's a lot of people that still out there that love the board and what they've done for us in terms of the stadium and everything else. Do you think they would accept no one coming in? I just think personally it's unacceptable. You know, it'll be the third time we've gone through a whole window having not signed anyone. It's just, it beggars belief. I mean, anyone can go on this one.
Easy to answer this sort of question. What's the backdrop to the screen we're on at the moment? The stadium. What's that behind Tommy's head? Shirt on the wall. What's that behind my head? Flag. Another shirt on the wall behind you. Nobody has a picture of anybody lifting a trophy behind them.
No.
That's our club. And people cheer this. People actually defend this.
Actually, that is the Carabao
Cup. There
is
one. Well done, mate.
Is it? Oh, right.
That's the Carabao Cup right there.
Haas is the 125th anniversary shirt, isn't it? I remember. I was
there. I was there that night.
15 years ago. 15 years ago. Carabao Cup. That's it.
Can I just say, we also haven't won a trophy in my lifetime.
Really?
We won the League Cup before I was born.
Wow.
So, let's give you an idea.
Oh, no.
At least you haven't been given a taste.
Failed.
At least you haven't been given a teaser. Obviously, I've seen a couple of cups. Kuva's seen a few. Tommy's seen a few. But, you know, at least you haven't been teased or anything, Harry.
If that makes you.
Yeah. Still not enough.
Look, if it's one thing that, you know, gets brought up with Tottenham, it's the fact that we don't win anything. And it's just become another tag, just like the Spursy tag, the trophy cabinet tag. You know, with that in mind, obviously, we're out of the Carabao Cup and we would have had a great chance to progress in the Carabao Cup. But do you think we should put all our eggs in one basket and try and win this FA Cup?
Yes.
Kuva, I'll come to you with it first and we'll go around.
It's pointless what we want, isn't it? Because it's not going to happen. For Conte, I'd do what Mourinho tried to do and accept that we can't win the league, try and get some silverware because that's what you want on your CV, both as player and manager. You want to have some sort of point to a trophy, not just like, oh, we did well to gain fourth place once. You know, coming to Tottenham, it's the graveyard for football. graveyard for managers' careers and players' careers. We've got to turn this around. The only way you turn that around is silverware. There's no exception to that. I'm a big advocate for playing great, sexy football, the Barcelona and the Ajax style, but it's got to be combined with winning trophies. If you don't win trophies, you're nothing, absolutely nothing. And I'm sick of being a joke. So I'll put, every egg we got into winning into the basket for winning the FA Cup. It's the most realistic opportunity we got. Fourth place isn't going to improve anything. It's always used as an excuse, or it gives us more money to spend, so we can get.
We never spend.
If you don't spend the money, for most clubs it makes a difference. But if you don't spend the money,
we had that 12 years ago. It hasn't really helped a lot, has it? Has the ground helped anything? How has that translated into success on the pitch? It hasn't. No. We've just got to change this attitude of going for the money and go for the silverware. I'll be happy with that.
Tommy, what do you think? Because arguably we're not guaranteed to finish in top 4 this season, and obviously we're not going to win the league. That's obviously going to happen a bit further down the road.
Sure?
But do you think we should put all our eggs in one basket and just go for the FA Cup? Do you reckon we can challenge for the FA Cup?
I think we tried to put all our eggs in one basket against Nottingham Forest. We put our first team out in the League Cup and they spanked us. So I think Conte, the way Conte plays, he likes consistency. He doesn't like changing the team too much. So I think he will go strong. Against Portsmouth, he went pretty strong as well. League One, who on horrendous form going into that game. We just snuck past. So I think we'll go strong against Preston. As I said, he goes, he plays the same team against most opposition. I would love an FA Cup. I really, really need an FA Cup. I'd take FA Cup an 8th and not playing Europe this season. I really, really would. We need that. And I think it's the only slight chance we have of keeping Kane. We have to do everything we possibly can to keep Harry Kane. I think he's still not going to keep him if we win the FA Cup. But there's a slight chance that we do. And we want to see it. Everybody wants to see it. I want to see those celebrations. I want to see, I want to see some sort of adulation. But with that comes, do we need, Levy's going to thinking, we won the FA Cup. Do we need any recruitment in the summer? Probably not, because we won the FA Cup. So it's
almost a double-edged sword, isn't it, Tommy?
It is.
Because you win.
Exactly.
If you win, then it's like, well, you might not get any players. But if we don't, then we might need players to sort of... You see what I mean? It's never that straightforward.
The threat of trophies is kryptonite to Levy, isn't it? Because it's an embarrassment to him. So he wants to try and avoid any.
And I think it's made our fans unambitious as well. Our fans take too much shit, paying the highest season ticket prices in Europe. Look, you can't just have a go at the fans. It's because we've been starved. That's why it's not so key if we don't do well. So it's like a vicious circle. But the fans do need to stand up. We need to stand up and say enough is enough. We pay the highest season ticket prices. The stadium's packed out every game. Our revenue we pick up on a match day is better than the combined bottom 7 in the Premier League right now. It's insane. And Nottingham Forest outspending us. We talk about bottom 7 in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest just got promoted, spending £50 million more than us. So it's not on. But the fans, they've got to do something. We've got to be more ambitious if we want to win things. Arsenal are not going to take it. I done an Arsenal stream on Sunday. They're 8 points clear of us after they beat us. They're still crying out for a left winger. We need to get a left winger. Edu's got to pull his finger out, get us a left winger, get us a centre to back up Partey, to back up Xhaka. You was there, Haz. We had Tony Claudio.
Yeah, I know.
And Luca, and they're crying out for it. That's ambition. Even when you're 8 points up, you want to move. In a transfer market, you've got to be moving. Our defense.
They're actually ambitious.
Absolutely. This is a relegation for the defense. 100%. Burnley's defense is better than this defense. And they got relegated last season. They don't.
That's like extending relegation as possibility.
Football. They don't have Harry Kane and Son. That's the difference. Yeah. The two best.
But Burnley are playing fantastic football at the moment under Company. So
they are certainly. It just shows, they bring some young Belgians through from out of nowhere. Yeah, they look good.
Can you see how likes of Arteta, Company, they're taking that philosophy from Manchester City, from the likes of Guardiola, and they're taking it to other teams. You can see that philosophy in those teams now is absolutely fantastic to see, but. Obviously not at Arsenal, but look, Harry, trophy. I'm
So
sure
which
that's what
Harry?
you want
Because
to
I'm
see.
called Harry too. That's what I'm asking. Sorry.
I'll call you Haz, and I'll call you Harry.
Oh,
There you go.
okay, all right.
But Harry, trophies, you must get ribbed so often. You must have some Arsenal mates, Chelsea mates, you name it. You know, what would it mean for you to win a trophy with Spurs? I mean, you've not seen us win anything in your lifetime, but what would it mean for you?
I think it means a lot because I think that we're a bit of a laughing stock. You know, get other like fans who can say to us, "Oh, you still haven't won a trophy." You know, what for 15 years now? It's a long time. And so I think we should go all out for the FA Cup. Give everything first team, throw everything at it because you know that matters surely more than getting probably fifth or sixth. I can't say it's getting top four. So surely that winning a trophy matters more than getting money that is never going to be spent apart from going to leave his back pocket. So surely the FA Cup's got to be the priority. It's the most realistic trophy we can win. Champions League are going to need a miracle. I mean, so the FA Cup is the most realistic one. So why not throw everything at it?
Yeah, absolutely. Harry touched on to the fact that we're still in the Champions League somehow. And we've got AC Milan coming up, in February. I mean, realistically, do we have a chance in the Champions League to get far?
No.
Or do you think we should go for the FA Cup? That's a bit more realistic. You know, we've got the likes of City or Arsenal. One of them is going to go out. So we're looking at least one of the big guns saying goodbye. So we've got a chance. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I'd make sure we get to 40 points. And then I'd rest every game in the Premier League. I'd play like mixed sides, and then I'd put all the best players in the FA Cup, and then Champions League can just rest some players, I guess, if there's an FA Cup game on the weekend, because we're not going to win the Champions League, are we? Let's be realistic. So, and for me, I'm like you guys. I don't care about top four because whenever we finish in top four, we don't push on anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah.
I'd rather we finish like 10th and we won the FA Cup.
Top four in
this whole narrative. Yeah. There was this whole narrative before where, you know, it was led to believe that if we get top four, we're going to get these world-class players coming in. We're going to attract the best names in football. That never materialised.
Look who we got in the summer, Haas. Look who we got in the summer. Look who Arsenal got. They got champions. Zinchenko and Jesus.
Absolutely.
I love Basuma. I think Basuma's going to be good. Richarlison's going to be good. Everton, Brighton, Spence, Middlesbrough. What are we doing? We're not using top four, as you say.
Yeah.
The only good thing about top four is we can keep the current players we have because we know we're not going to sign top four players time and time again. But, you know, Romero, Bentancur, they're going to want to get into the top four. But of everyone here, we need that trophy, don't we? We need that trophy.
But let's face it, most of these players might not even be here next season. So
it could be, couldn't it?
Just win the FA Cup. Please. The last time we won it was the year before I was born.
It'll be a travesty if Harry Kane and Hugo Lloris don't lift the trophy in that whole state.
I mean, it'll be fantastic if Lloris, especially Lloris, because he might not be here next season, if you got to lift the trophy in his last season with us. I personally think Lloris is going to be with us next season and he's going to see out his contract. That's what I think. Yeah. But knowing the club, they'll want to save some money. Prioritize other areas, and for me, Lloris stays another season.
I think we might do with what we did when he came in the first place, because we had Brad Friedel, where we said we'll just ease him in over the course of a season.
Yeah,
I think that's what we might do in this case as well.
Yeah,
like bringing like Pickford or something and have him on the bench.
No,
God, I hope not.
I don't want Pickford. I'm just saying that's the club. That's the name that's been mooted. I'm not saying I want him.
You can't put Pickford on the bench because he'll gnaw it.
Guys,
that's a good shout. Good shout.
Romero's performance tonight, you know, he was very robust in the challenge, as he always is.
I like it.
He played much better than the last game. He was commanding in the area, and unfortunately, I did sort of predict that he'd pick up another yellow against Fulham, and hence he now misses the next game. First of all, what do you make of Romero's performance tonight, and how pivotal is it that he's not going to be available for us the next game? I'll start with Haz.
Oh, sorry, Haz. I'll put a message in. I'm going to have to drop out, mate, I'm afraid.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, cheers.
That's okay. All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
cheers.
Enough pain for one evening. If it's not the knee, it's watching the team, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
It's probably as a result of watching the team, but you know.
Right. Cheers anyway, lads.
Take
care, buddy. Haz, so I was going to start with you for this one. How pivotal is it, do you reckon, that we're missing Romero for the next game. I mean, we've got a City coming up next game as well. I mean, yeah, how do you see that one? And how
Oh,
did he
right.
rate his performance tonight?
Well, he's our best centre half by a country mile. So we're gonna probably have Sanchez on the right, most likely. So you got Dyer, Sanchez, and Davies, the three-pronged defence. That was the backup under Pochettino, the starters against Man City, against Haaland, Alvarez, and they didn't even play De Bruyne against us in the last game. So God knows what they're going to do to them.
Yeah. Harry, what do you reckon? What do you make of his performance tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I like aggression side of his game. No, I thought it was a lot better. Yeah, but obviously it can be a big blow against City. You know, could be a bigger game. Good for him to miss. And he's our best centre back. You know, you look at the whole defence and you go, it's only really Romero that shines out of that and leads by example. So the thought of Davies, Dyer, and Sanchez against City, up against the likes of Haaland, Foden, De Bruyne, Grealish, it's scary. It's like a completely another league. It's men versus boys. So we've got to make sure we score quite a few if we want to get anything out of the game. It's about, could be, got to score a lot of goals. I can't see us, getting a clean sheet or, probably letting a lot of goals in with that defence. So, yeah.
Tommy, I'm going to go one step further. Obviously, we elaborated on Romero's performance earlier, but he's going to be missing. Who comes in for Romero? Who do we go with? Because we've got a defender against the likes of Haaland, who's found his goal scoring touch again, thanks to us. And, who comes in? I mean, we've got Dyer in there. We all know what you think is Dyer. And today we played Davies, who's a little bit more consistent than Longley. But who comes in?
I mean, that could be the case. It could be Sanchez. I mean, when he was injured at the end of last season, Romero, we actually won the last 3 games, didn't we? When Romero was injured, we done all right. Sanchez had this great record of 7 games without losing. We know he's not very good. So I've got a funny feeling in terms of like-for-like player, it probably will be Sanchez. He's high-intensity pressing. He's just not very good at it. Well, so I think if you're doing like-for-like, he'll probably come in. But you can revert it. You can put Longley at centre-back. You could probably get away with Longley as middle centre-back. He's probably the only one outside Dyer. Not because Dyer's good, but because he's the only one
that will to the right, you think? Yeah.
Back. He's the only one that's deep. The rest will come flying out. And Davis is a left back anyway, so putting him as middle centre back is going to be really tricky. So you could, you could move Davis, keep Davis left centre back, put Longley centre back, and then you could put Dyer right centre back. We've seen that. We've seen Conte do that. So I wouldn't be surprised. And Dyer, when he first came to the team, was a right back. So he is. He can play. I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened.
No, I know who this is.
I think that's what happened. But look, Romero was good tonight. He has his good games. He has his bad games. He's made some errors lately. He's made some bad errors on the ball sometimes as well. He's a bit lazy. I want to see an improvement from Romero in the air, from set pieces. I don't think I've ever seen him win a header from an attacking corner. Not once in 18 months. And he's got to improve his heading ability in this league. You've got to be much, much better. I know he's unique. He comes out, wins the ball, aggressive. That's fantastic. But you've got to do some of the basics right. What goes against him, of course, is the fact that he's got Dyer to the left and Emerson to the right, and that's how it's been for 18 months. And and he's still standing out as our best centre back. So I like him, but there are certainly weaknesses to his game. So when people are saying he's world class, no, he's got a long way to go until he's world class. He will definitely be a miss. It's only one game though, isn't it? Is it just one game?
It's one game, so he's got 5 yellows. He misses one game.
Yeah, because we've got Preston next. It doesn't count for that, no. Doesn't count.
I think it only counts in the Premier League. So
does it not count for FA Cup or not? Oh, okay.
We'll have to check that one up. We'll have to check it. If it's just for the Premier League, you'll be Manchester City. But if it's Preston, then it shouldn't be.
We know we can compete with Man City. We know we can compete with Man City. It was just a bad 8 minutes. Really, really awful 8 minutes. So we know, and the last couple of seasons, we've been their bogey team. We've been their bogey team in the last few seasons. So we could still.
But would you want to beat City because they're chasing down Arsenal? So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly that.
I mean, look. What's this question? What does the panel think about Royale's performance this evening? Look, we welcome to the show, Savcat1. Look, we touched on it earlier on in the show, but Will pretty much said the same thing. Emerson had a really solid game today. He was better than his usual calamitous ways. But he put in a good shift today. Second half, especially, you know, when the team needed to defend and shut up shop, he actually did all right. So, yeah, he didn't do too bad. But I just wanted to move on to, you know, we're coming towards the end of the window, and this whole Paratici thing comes out. He was in the ground today at Fulham. I didn't expect to see him there. There was news today that he was
in the
done with the
ground?
club.
Yeah,
He was in the stands. Yeah, he was in the stands today.
Yeah.
But there was news that we'd sacked him. He was gone, but he was there at Craven Cottage today. I mean, what do we make of that? I mean, do you think we should keep this guy? Considering what's come out,
I think his days are numbered. I think he's gone by the summer at the very least, because there's no way they can keep someone who probably won't be able to do any transfers. It doesn't make any sense. So what are you paying him for? And I don't know. For me, it's very suspect that why didn't Levy check out his background with this sort of thing? I find that very suspect.
Yeah.
Because apparently I heard he was chasing him. Was it you told me or someone else? He was chasing him for like 6 years or something crazy like that. It's like, would you have done your due diligence on the person you actually really wanted for all that time?
Yeah. He's a con artist, Levy. If he knew Paratici was a con artist, he'd employ him just for being a con artist, and and that's what it's found out to be.
Yeah.
I mean, look. I'll come to you, Tommy. Do you think this puts our reputation at risk? Do you think this puts the club at risk of sort of being investigated? Because, you know, he brought in the likes of Kulusevski, he brought in the likes of Bentancur, Romero. You know, questions are going to be asked of these signings as well. You know, there was already questions asked of the Romero deal when he went to Juventus from Atalanta. It was essentially a Juventus player, but there was some dodgy dealings there, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think the right course of action is? Has he saying we need to get rid of? I agree with that. But what do you think should happen? Because for me, it doesn't look good on the club, and it comes at a time where we are in absolute turmoil in terms of what's going on with us.
It's a very good question. How does it look for the club? I'll tell you what, I hope it looks bad. I hope it looks as bad as possible, because if it pushes Levy out the door, then I'm happy with that. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less about Spurs' reputation right now. If our league position keeps dropping, we're going to lose our best players. I couldn't give a toss. But on the other side, Paratici's just a puppet. He's, there'll be another puppet after him. We talk. He was a dodgy character, Paratici. I've done my research on him a while back, and yeah, he was the one that put the Cristiano Ronaldo deal through.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Behind Marotta's back. Marotta was the director of football at Juventus, and that's why Marotta left. And he was right. He said, if we sign Cristiano Ronaldo at Juventus, the club is going to suffer because we won't have money to spend on other players. Look, 3-4 years later, 10th. Juventus are 10th. Paratici lost his job. So you think Levy, the tightest owner of all time, especially considering how much he earns, is going to employ Paratici and give him power, considering what he done to Juventus? No, he's a puppet. The fans wanted a director of football. He put a director of football in place. So this whole, is he a Don? It's irrelevant. I don't think the question is whether he's a Don or not. He hasn't got any power. He's like a chief scout. He maybe does some tactical analysis, Paratici. But in terms of actually signing players, negotiating contracts, there's never been any power. So if he goes or not, it won't make a bit of difference, to be honest with you. I was surprised to see him in the crowd though. Like you, I saw him. I thought he's going to be packing his bag shortly, but maybe we'll still keep him around. The sort of thing Levy would do. You still keep him around when he's 2 years. I don't know. He's not allowed in Italy for 2 years or something.
When the reports saying that they're going to investigate the Romero deal to Tottenham today or yesterday,
it was a bit dodgy, wasn't it? It was a bit weird.
Because apparently he claimed Spurs overpaid or something for Romero.
Yeah,
because of money to Juventus or something.
Like judging by that, you'd have to think that there was something there. If that is the case, then he's obviously sorted out whoever's at Juventus to say, look, here's some extra cash or whatever. We don't know what's happening, but Harry, what does this indicate to you? Paratici in the stands. Does it say that the club are willing to keep him on? Why would he be in the stands?
Maybe. I'm surprised to see him. It's interesting. Perhaps Levy doesn't even know he's there. Who knows? Till we saw him on TV. But I can't see him staying long at the club. But I question Levy about doing due diligence. It's his fault, surely. Surely he done his research on Paratici. It's not difficult. I can't see him staying, beyond the summer at the club. I don't think Levy would like that for his reputation even more. I don't think he'll like that. But yeah, we'll have to see. But I was surprised to see him at Craven Cottage, to be fair. I was surprised to see him.
Yeah, as was we all. One thing I want to touch on is the fans, the away fans tonight at the game. The one thing that stood out was them. They absolutely blew the roof off. Absolutely blew the roof off Craven Cottage tonight. So if anyone's watching that was at the game today, big up to you. Big up to anyone that was at the game today. Absolutely sung your hearts out. All I could hear at one point was Tottenham fans, and even better than that, what I heard on a few occasions was Tottenham fans singing "Levy, get out of our club" and Levy chants and Enoch chants. Fantastic. Let's get as much exposure as we can at home games, away games. Let's try and make it difficult for these people because, they clearly don't care about winning, but we certainly do. What did you make of the fans tonight, Tommy? Did you hear them when you was watching the game?
Unbelievable. I've never heard one chant go on for as long as the Yid Army chant. It's crazy. Just breathless. Unbelievable. And, I always write a few notes before I stream or before I come on someone else's stream. And I'll tell you what, it was 2 notes. It was Harry Kane idiots if they want him to go. and honestly, the crowd tonight, you talk about 12th man, 13th man. There were our 12th and 13th man. I think they're the ones that got us over the line. It's so key away from home. Beautiful stadium, and they really did make the difference. They kept that fire burning. As tough as it was in the first 35 minutes, and we got it together in the last 10 minutes. I think they really did. I think they really did make a difference. More than any game I've seen this season, to be honest with you. More than any game. They probably know we need it because we do. We're on our arse right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Harry, do you share the same sentiment?
Yeah, I thought they were amazing. The support was incredible. They deserve so much better. Class from our fans tonight. So hopefully the players will actually play for them. But yeah, hopefully Levy and Enoch get the message. It's clear that the fans are behind Conte. Obviously against Levy and Enoch, and the Yid Army chant that went on for ages. It's incredible. It's impossible not to hear their way support. Really good. We need it because club's really struggling at the moment. Lots of problems with the club, but one thing will never change is the fans' class. They're just incredible. Simple as that, really.
And Haz, obviously you've heard what we've said about the fans and stuff. And myself and Haz, we were at the protest on Saturday outside of the Hotspur Way training ground, trying to make our voices heard. But how refreshing was it to see that actually, we are making our voices heard now. We are trying to get the message out there. I mean, what do you think of the fans tonight? Because I thought they were superb tonight.
I thought that was probably one of the best away fans performance I've ever seen, actually, or heard on TV ever. Obviously, going on from the protest we went to, we had to carry on the momentum, I guess, and that was a brilliant way to do it. And I think it was so obvious that you could hear it on the TV. Thank God the Sky didn't mute it like before, because that's what I heard. They did it before, right? But this one, they had no choice. I guess they had to just leave it going. And even just the fact that they did Antonio songs afterwards as well, pretty much tells the board that we'd rather see the manager stay than you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really important. Yeah.
I mean, if this isn't a clear message, then I don't know what is, because one thing that a lot of fans are saying is that we need to back this guy. We've got a Rolls Royce of a manager at the club. We've brought this man to the club, and it's almost like we're wasting what he's got to give us. It's almost like we've brought him in, but we're wasting this opportunity. And we need to back him. We need to back him, whether it's in this market, next market. Look, Conte come out and said it's going to take 3-4 windows at least. He's had, I would make it 2 windows, including this one maybe. He got the summer window. I don't think we've got the right recruitments in. And now he's got this January window where there's no sign of any signings. So, he said it himself. Most managers, have won this board before. Pochettino, when he said we needed to rebuild and everything else. What has changed? Why has the philosophy And why has the direction of the club changed all of a sudden? Or are we assuming that it's changed because we've not made any signings? You know, what was the direction of the club in the beginning when we brought Conte in? You know,
I don't think the direction of the club's actually changed. I think it's just been the same for the past 20 years. Unfortunately, the transfer policy still hasn't changed, despite the fact we built a new stadium and we were told it was to buy better players, of course, and Champions League was the same carrot that was put forward to us at the beginning. I remember, because that's why you guys, I know how many of you guys know this. I actually was Levy in for about 10 years until Saha and Nelson arrived. And I was like, they clearly don't care about winning.
that was your turning point. That was your turning point.
That
Saha
was my
Nelson.
last straw, right?
Right. Okay.
Because I was like, okay, yeah, because they clearly were lying to us for 10 years. And so, as in, because the transfer policy still hasn't changed from back then, because we still used to buy young English talent. I remember back in the Joel days and Santini days, and even before that, because that was the plan, to buy young English players to build a team, supposedly. But obviously, Carrick left. All these other English players left. So it's always been the remit. The transfer policy hasn't changed, despite the fact it's been 20 years that we've had win now managers, let's say, or more progressive managers. Like even say Harry Redknapp, I don't know if he was a win now manager, but he was a manager who used older players as well. I remember, like we had the Gallas's who joined. I remember, and people like that. But still, again, the club would focus on buying, say, at least 2 young players each window in the summer to fit this policy. So I don't, in a sense, nothing's changed in terms of the club, but all that's changed is that we've got a bigger stadium, more training grounds, and just different managers and different directors of football that
Tommy,
are just either here for show or I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Tommy has mentioned about buying young English players, you know, and essentially we ended up with the best one of the lot. We were given the golden goose with Harry Kane. So, you know, it just shows that we get things and we don't make the most of it. We've got arguably one of the best players in the world. We don't surround him with the players that he needs. We've got one of the best managers in the world. We don't give him the players that he needs to implement his tactics. We've got one of the best stadiums in the world. We put Dross out every week. You know, where does it stop? I mean, where does it stop? How? I mean, how long do you reckon?
It only stops when they go. We know. We've come to that. I've come to that conclusion now.
Do you think Levy's more of a problem than Enoch?
The end of Pochettino, the last year of Pochettino, we didn't support him. We didn't re-recruit. Our recruitment in the defence when we lost Toby, Vertonghen, Walker, Rose. You know, we get Davis in, Dyer. You know, changing him from centre mid to centre back, Sanchez. And a lot of these players, a lot of the players that we signed for big money are 21 euros, 22 euros. We've got that sell on. We're focusing on the potential sell on value. And that's a big mistake, especially with Conte. Conte is a 2-year man. He only stays at clubs for 2 years. He doesn't bring the youth players into the team. As we can see with Spence. Spencer's been fit all season. He hasn't started a single Premier League game. We've got probably the 2 worst right wing backs we've had at the club in the Premier League era. And Spence still can't get a game. Because Conte doesn't do that. He doesn't take those sorts of risks. Same with Skip. Skip's absolutely fantastic. He was our best player for the first half of last season. Him and Son. Because Kane wasn't really at it. Absolutely magnificent. And I think he's going to be a very good player, but not under Conte. So we know if someone as good as Skip, and I think he's going to be a terrific player, can't get in the team, then I think there's we've gone the wrong way, completely the wrong way with Conte, and it'll be the same. It'll be the same with every manager now. How can you spend £35 million on Gilt? He had one good season at Eibar. £35 million. Because you spend 25 plus Lamella, which is for me is the equivalent of about £35 million. Crazy. 10-15 million on Jack Clark. It's madness.
On Sanchez, Tommy, we spent obviously up to 42 million. You know, he only had one season at Ajax.
One season at Ajax. He was a striker in Colombia. The season before...
It makes no sense to me. It's like if you buy an Ajax player, so you buy someone who's brought up for the academy.
He was a striker in Colombia before he signed for Ajax for that one season. Insanity. £42 million. £42 million 5 years ago is the equivalent of about £70 million now. Incredible.
Mental, isn't it? Yeah.
And again, it just shows we don't do our due diligence with players, you know, and luckily, obviously, Kulusevski, Bentancur, those sort of signings have worked. But in
But
general,
even those, they were lucky. They were lucky signings. We needed certain things to fall into place for that to happen.
Yeah.
The two biggest ones were Juventus letting them go because they signed Zakaria in centre midfield. They signed Vlahovic, so they had to let two people go. And they felt like Bentancur and Kulusevski, they can move them on. So the only reason we didn't attract Kulusevski and Bentancur, they needed them to leave, and we were there to pick them up. So as good as they've been, and they've been fantastic, even that was fortunate. Even that was very fortunate. Sorry to interrupt, Haas, but it gets my goat.
fine.
It gets my goat, man. Because as good as
okay.
they've been, it was fortunate. It was relatively fortunate, and they have been fantastic. No doubt about it. They've been fantastic.
Yeah. Shout out to SavCap1. He's asking, do you think we're going to make any signings in January? What happens if we don't make any? That's a good question. What does happen if we don't make any signings? Harry, what do you think? What's going to happen? Come to the 31st. Transfer deadline day. We've made no signings.
Won't get top four. Simple as that. Won't win a trophy. I mean, Conte, although he's a world-class manager, elite manager, can't win trophies or even compete if you aren't given the tools to. So I don't get why hire world-class managers, elite managers, if you like Mourinho, Pochettino, Conte, but then not back them. Surely it'd be better to go down the Ryan Mason, Graham Potter route and go, youth. But if you're going to get world-class managers, then you've got to give them the tools to compete. If Conte doesn't sign a new contract in summer, I reckon that would be more than just family reasons. It'd be more that he hasn't got the tools to compete. Because you look at that defence, I mean, that's championship standard. I think it called out for saying that. It's a championship defence. I mean, like Emerson, Doherty, Sessegnon, Fulham wouldn't take them. So, you look at that defence and that's got to be the priority. I mean, time's running out in January. We've just got to show some ambition like Arsenal do, like Chelsea do, like Liverpool do, like any other top club does, and just pay the money. Take a risk, ambition, work with Benson, Core and Kulusevski. Show some ambition for once.
Yep. Well said. Well said, Harry. Well said. Look, before we wrap up the show, we are coming towards the end of the show. Just a couple of things I want to touch on. First one, I'll go through individually who you think your player of the match was. I think I know what everyone's going to say. Tommy, I'll start with you. Who stood out for you and what changes, if any, do you reckon we should make for the next match?
Well, I'm not going to say Emerson was man of that. That's what you think. Because I still think defensively in the first half, he wasn't great. Harry Kane's got to be man of the match. That's just unbelievable. That's unbelievable skill to do that. And the keeper, as I said earlier, the keeper's got no chance. There's no power in the shot. He still has absolutely no chance. That's an absolute maestro at his best. Less than scraps. I heard the commentators and they were right. I can't remember. Was it less than scraps? Kane's got.
I had one of the chance in the whole game.
What's he got now? 16 goals this season. He's literally feeding off less than scraps. So unbelievable. He definitely does. He was the difference. He was literally the difference. His goal. So yeah, he would get man of the match. Even if Emerson was unbelievably good defensively, I still wouldn't give him man of the match. No chance.
That's a fair one, Tommy. That's a fair one.
So yeah, it's Kane for me, man.
Very good point.
Harry, would you agree with that? Who do you reckon was your man of the match?
Yeah, I'll give Kane a man of the match. I thought Emerson was great, but I can't give him man of the match. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't fit right. Just Kane for that moment of brilliance, really, and equaling Jimmy Greaves' record. I mean, that's incredible as it is.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever thought it'd be broken. So there you go. We're only a matter of time now for Tottenham's all-time top scorer. It's incredible from Kane, that goal as well. Moment of brilliance. And so Kane-like, if you like. So yeah, Kane gets the man match for me. The moment of brilliance.
And has Harry alluded to the fact that he's equalled Jimmy Greaves' record today or tonight in a London derby against Fulham, and that no matter what happens, he's going to be joint top goal scorer. But what do you think? Who do you reckon stood out for you?
It's really hard not to say Harry Kane, but that goal, really reminded me of his goal against Chelsea in the 5-3 when he cut in off that side, and he hit it to the other corner, except he hit it to the other far corner this time. It's like trademark Harry Kane goal. Yeah. It's probably one of my favorite goals he ever scored against Chelsea. It's one of my top 5 for Harry Kane. But it's just the fact he just makes his own goals, I think, makes him so good. Because when you look at someone like Haaland, he might develop as a player, I don't know, but he's more on the end of things. But Kane he creates his own goals. It's just unbelievable. what he does is incredible. And I'm blessed to actually have seen him play for Tottenham.
Yeah,
He was that good.
It
Yeah.
seems like it's a unanimous Kane in that case, and I couldn't agree with that any more than you guys. So before we wrap up, Manchester City score predictions. It's I don't want to go into the game against Preston, but we'll talk about Manchester City.
Okay.
Tommy, how do you see that one going?
It's next Sunday, isn't it? Next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. I don't think we'll lose. I think this one's got draw written all over it, to be honest with you. We don't draw too much under Conte. I think it's got draw written all over it. Maybe 1-1, maybe 2-2. I'll go 2-2. Kane will get a goal, so he'll beat Greasy's record. That'll be fantastic. And if we get 2-2, we get Son scoring as well. I don't think he scored a first half goal in the league this season. That'd be wonderful to get him going as well. So 2-2. I think that'd be a good result against Man City too.
Fair enough, yeah. Harry, what do you reckon?
I'm going
Manchester
1-1.
City.
I'm going to go 1-1. I mean, my feelings could change as you get closer to it. But let's go with the draw for now. I mean, surely can't lose twice to them. So, yeah, take the draw and move on.
Who's scoring?
Kane.
Yes.
Kane's got the Kane.
Yes.
Hope so.
He's got to break that record, I suppose.
Got to. Perfect.
He's got to do it sometime.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 draws. Are you going to break that duck? Something tells me you're going to go with a
Unfortunately, I'm going to
different
say something that's
scoreline.
going to annoy people.
I've never predicted a victory. So
Yeah, 4-2 to Man City again. I'm going, and a double for Harry Kane.
So
But
4-2 to Manchester City.
Morris is going to give us nightmares again, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Morris was
Yeah.
fantastic against us. In that second half, he was absolutely
And if De
unplayable.
Bruyne plays, I mean, it's going to be carnage, I think. Especially if Romero's out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guys, I should have started with Has first. I mean, we didn't.
yeah,
I didn't
because
want to end it on doom and gloom.
you
But
can
yeah,
redeem
look-
it. Haas, you can redeem this, man. You can redeem it.
yeah, say a win just so everyone has something different.
I think obviously a win would help that lot down the road. So, I was always going to go with a draw. They're absolutely gunning, no pun intended. They're gunning for the title at the moment. So it's going to be a bit difficult to get a decent result against Manchester City when they play us. But I'd definitely go with a 1-1 draw, possibly Kane to get the equaliser or the first goal. But yeah, 1-1. I can't see us beating them, if I'm being honest, at home. Anyone different to that one?
No, I agree.
I'm the only one who
We're
predicted a loss. So
worse at home, aren't we? So yeah, that's a good point.
That's fair enough. Gents, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. That is the end. We have come to the end of the show. Just before we go, let's find out a bit more about where we can find you all. Tommy, obviously you're with the Hotspur Hood. Tell us a bit more about where we can find you, what day, what night.
First of all, thanks for having me, Haas. I love the channel, brilliant channel. What you and Marlon are doing here. You're regular on my show as well. And tomorrow, Tuesday is probably the weekly show we can call it. So tomorrow 9 p.m. Bit of fun. It'll be funner this week because last week it was depressing. It was 2 days after the Arsenal game, going into the Man City game, we're all fearing the worst. But it should be a little bit more chill, clean sheet victory. And we always have a little bit of fun on there. So that's 9 p.m. on the Hotspur Hood. But subscribe to this channel first, and if you haven't on mine, that'd be fantastic. And of course, the other boys here.
Fantastic. Make sure you get over to Tommy's channel, Hotspur Hood. Absolutely fantastic.
yeah, brilliant.
And he
channel.
actually does transfer shows as well. And Tommy is one of the best stats guys I know. Honestly, go over to his channel. Make sure
Pointless to transfer shows now, aren't they? Completely pointless, but-
Well, there is no
transfer roundup.
If you want to dream, then go over to Tommy's channel and we'll go through some potentials. Harry, quite new to View from the South Stand and other channels, obviously, but you have got quite a big following. Where can we find you, Harry?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, you can find me
You're
on
welcome.
all socials. Most actively, probably Twitter. I think I've got my tag thing up there. Trying to work out how to point at us there. Also the founder of Scarfy Spurs, which some people probably know me for as well. Yeah, I think for all social, multi-platform. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, make sure you go and follow Scarfy Spurs. Harry's social platforms all across Twitter, Instagram. Absolutely fantastic. He's a top lad as well. Make sure you go over and support him. You are a regular. You've even hosted some of the shows for us as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere
And,
right nowadays.
You've had quite a few
Yeah.
ding dongs on the shows with other guests and stuff. But
Yeah.
we love having you on, mate.
Yeah.
Tell us where we can find you next and a bit more about your channel.
So I mean, normally I do stream on like Thursdays and Sundays. So the Sundays tend to always fall correctly, but obviously we'll call it City the Sunday after that, so that will probably have to change. But my next stream is going to be on Friday at about 4:00. But yeah, obviously you can find me on here, either as a guest or as a host every so often. I do appear on other channels every so often, like Tottenham Way or whatever else, or even Tommy's channel over there. Yeah, I'm on his quite a lot. Yeah, we've done a lot of shows together. And yeah, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Hasper92 and Levy out.
Boom. Yes, Levy out indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone in the chat as well, thank you for joining us tonight. Obviously, it's been a good result. It's we don't need any more doom and gloom, but certainly we are always going to be Levy and Enoch out and Conte in. Until then, follow us. Go on YouTube, click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell.
Subscribe to this channel.
And,
you guys are really good. Please subscribe.
Thank you. Make sure you join us for the next one. Marlon's going to be hosting the next show, which is going to be against Preston, I believe. So make sure you join him for that one as well. But as always, we end it with "Come on, you Spurs."
Come on, you Spurs. Come on.